What it is.
Bless. Bless is back. I feel like Phoenix is always outside.
I am, because I am always in between classes at this time.
Oh, good. It's a beautiful day. It's a great day to be
Yeah, it's
out.
really nice out.
Again, Dell's over there teaching classes or something. Guys, I just want to let you know how much I appreciate this remarkable and how much I love you guys. I've already ordered like the little cover for it, but like I'm using this thing like this is the jam. This is definitely the jam.
Hello.
Hello. Let's see. All right, people. Sorry, I'm creating a folder on my remarkable for this meeting, you know what I'm saying? Two. So I actually was trying to get Amanda Douglas on this call. I think I'm gonna have her on next week because she obviously missed the mastermind. But she was gonna come on and she was mentioning that supposedly like there's like it's 2:22 and at 2:22 p.m. it's supposed to be like this very, very powerful moment. Like I don't know if we're supposed to do anything special for it, but I don't know if any people on the call know anything about that. But you know, at 2:22 on 2:22 is supposed to be like some powerful, energetic force day. Devin, you were nodding your head like you know something about this.
I've just seen the post about it.
Oh, okay. Oh, you seen post? Okay. Anybody else into that stuff? So you can tell us what we're supposed to do. I don't know if we're supposed to like say a prayer, you know, Zoom hold hands. I don't know what they're supposed to do. Nothing. All
I had a
right.
lot today about it, and it's basically, everything you've worked, the universe sees everything that you've worked on to get to this point in your life, right? And so today you take the time to manifest truly what you want your life to be, right? So how you want it to, like, you could feel it, and you can like put all your senses into it as well. And if you want to freaking in 5 years be on a yacht, you can smell the seawater, stuff like that. So you basically it's really a big manifestation.
I love it. I love it. Well, let's start with blessings and then included in blessings what you want to manifest.
Well, I'll start since I'm already unmuted.
Yeah, go ahead.
Blessings is super personal. I made pastelón yesterday and it came out amazing. I just had it for lunch, so it's so good. No, just back into the swing of things. I feel good today. So I hopped on calls and made really good 3 connections. So it's just, I was telling my husband, it's so crazy. I make the calls and you connect by making the calls. So yeah.
Yep. And quick blessing for you guys is I saw you rack up in a 5 minute period, multiple pendings. So I knew about two of them, then we got two new ones, and then some of them I don't get the weekly report as to the pendings until next day. So make sure all your pendings are in Sky Slope. But I think we're up to 7 pendings this month. So we got a few days left. And let's get some things under contract. But that's awesome. And next time, bring some pastelón for the rest of us. I mean,
Wait, what is that?
Great question. Explain.
So, all right. So Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, in my experience, make it different, right? I'm half Puerto Rican, I'm half Dominican. Puerto Ricans, they take sweet plantains, they cut it into strips, like lengthwise strips, and they fry them. Then they put like ground beef, cheese, and then more on top. It's kind of like a Spanish lasagna.
Yeah.
But me, I'm also Dominican. And instead of frying my plantains, I actually boil them and I mash them. So, and I put a little bit of butter. And so my base is the plátano, the sweet plantains. I put ground beef, I put mozzarella cheese. I put more of the plátano on top and then more mozzarella cheese. And it's a Spanish lasagna.
Yeah.
Sounds
It's really awesome, actually. It's basically exactly what she said, a Spanish lasagna with sweet plantains. So it has like that sweet and salty kind of nice mix in there. It's pretty excellent.
That sounds so good.
It's a blessing. Who else? Blessings.
I'll go.
Ladies first.
Thanks, Yondo. So my blessing is kind of like what Alexis was saying. I just like recently felt like I really haven't been doing shit. Like my calls are kind of there, kind of not there. But the last like couple of days, I don't know, something just like fire under my ass type shit. Like I went under contract twice in one day. I got calls that people are like ready to move forward. I just connected pretty well with a new lady that I've been trying to connect with for like days now. So I feel really good about that one. But I started to realize like, I guess my true blessing is just the atmosphere. Like there have been twice this week that buyers have like, oh, I can't buy right now. And I'm like, okay, well, out of curiosity, why not? And one of it was my credit score. I was like, well, if I can get you into a house before the end of the year, like you're planning. And they were like, yeah, of course. So I did what Zach taught us. And I was like, okay, we can buy a fucking house. So I connected them with Jocelyn. Jocelyn said it's going to take about a month, but she can qualify them at that point. So another thing was the investment loan. So I feel like just the atmosphere and like going to classes and learning about things, I have things that I can now use that buyers, like I usually would be like, okay, your credit, okay, like loan type you can't do. So like now that I know about certain things, I don't let buyers get away with telling me they can't buy right now. So I feel like that's my biggest blessing.
That's amazing. That's amazing. We're going to talk a little bit about that later about, just being relentless. And I love that you have the more tools you put in your toolbox, the more you can keep somebody in the conversation, right? So the more you know, the more you plug in, it's like you have more stuff to say. So that was cool that you were able to kind of pull some of those things that we learned in the past week. And I don't know what the flip of the switch was. Maybe it was the girl mastermind, who knows? But you never know, man. Sometimes you're in proximity and in the energy and things start to flow. And that's where we want to get to, is that flow state where things are just, we're picking up the phone, we're making connections in the real world, all of it. And it's just starting to flow. So tell us, were you able to, any new updates about this lady? No bitching, just tell me if it got better.
I'll put it that way. I thought I did. And then she was like, nothing against Home First, but I think Chase could do better. And I was like, bitch, no, they can't. So I'm actually, I forgot to call her back. She called me yesterday at 9:00 and I haven't called her back.
Oh, you haven't called her?
No,
I thought we were going to have a story.
Yeah, no, she called me and that's when she was like, yeah, Chase said that they could do 10% and I can go up to 300,000. And I was like, okay, well, that something sounds off. And then I was like, well, just let me know when you get the pre-approval. Like, I want to look over it. And she sent it to me at like 9:00 last night. And I was like, I'm not answering her call right now. And I forgot to call her back until you just mentioned her, honestly.
All right, I'm gonna have to do a live call here in a minute. So did we besides pasta, did we talk about where you wanted to manifest, Alexis?
Oh, what I want to manifest?
Yeah.
Yeah, so manifesting. So my manifestation is definitely I'm honestly money driven. I like money. I like the finer things. So I see myself a multi-millionaire. I do see myself on, just traveling on the yacht, smelling the seawater, jumping in and doing backflips. I don't know about the backflips, but I see it, right? I also see multiple investment properties, and yeah, that's when I'm manifesting, and I see it. I see it, I feel it, I believe it.
It shall be so. Shall be so. What about you, Annie?
Honestly, recently I've been really manifesting, like I'm going to start having like 5 pendings a month. So I'm really like focused on that. I also want to, like, I've been talking to Alexis about an investment property, and I kind of stole a page out of her book earlier today. And I told a buyer how, like, my dad's a handyman, my brother's in HVAC, my mom's at home, she can be the cleaning lady, I'm a realtor, like, let's just start property management. So I'm thinking and I'm manifesting that I kind of start that up, and it's more of like a family business based. So my manifestation is more for the year. Is just 5 pendings a month, buying a investment property, and starting a property management company.
Wow. I love it. Okay, who else coming in with some blessings and manifestations?
I'll go.
Yeah, Yandel was ready. That's right.
My manifestation is like consistency and discipline. I mean, I feel like that's something that I tend to struggle with. I was having a mindset that, like, if the results weren't coming instantly, it was almost like, like, what am I doing it for? But I've come to know that, like, the example that I used was the tipping point. Like, I feel like once you feel like a cone with so many things, it's going to begin to overflow sooner or later. So I feel like that's kind of the stage that I'm in right now. And then my blessing is actually Andrew. Right before we were on this call, I knew about EXP's rev share, but I didn't understand it. So he actually just taught me, like, exactly what it is and the tiers and the amount of rev share you get for XYZ. So Andrew's my blessing.
Thank you.
Amazing.
He's new here.
And yeah, I saw him go through it. But well, the next blessings go. I have a video that I did explaining this because I talk about me and Gil's numbers. Like, I talked to Carlos, and it's not something that we can it's not something you put out. So it's kind of an unlisted link. But if you ever have, like, well, for you guys to learn, or if you ever have somebody who's really serious and you want to show them this link, you guys can show it to them. And I go through all the 7 levels as well. So I'll put that in the chat so you guys can have that as well. But good stuff, man. Thanks, Andrew. Thanks for being a blessing.
I'll go next.
Go ahead. Hey, Biagio, shut up.
Sorry, I have only the little finger to show you.
Hey, shut up. Talk to them loud.
It's more of a realization I had this week, because Annie had said it, I think in our stake mastermind or even last Zoom, that put a competition in front of her and she just wants to win. And my first thought was like, I'm not like that. Like, I'm not that competition. Like, it wasn't my main driver. But then I realized this week that I don't have the energy to compete against the people on my team here on Davos, but I love an adrenaline rush. I love the big deals. I love going against the other agent, trying to win a house, crafting these deals and these contracts is what I love, or going after people who say they already have a realtor, or objection handling, or trying to meet with people. That's my competition. So I realized I do have that competitive spirit in me, just not with the agents, maybe here on this screen, but on the other parts and in other situations in real estate. So my blessing is that realization that I do compete, just not with who's on the screen, but who's out there in the world and with contracts and deals.
I'm very similar, I'm such a people person that's like, I don't want to, like, competing against my own teammates is not necessarily what inspires me per se. But I'm the same way. I used to think, like, man, I don't really have that much more of a competitive spirit, but But we do. We want to accomplish the things we want to accomplish, and we go after it. And I'm a liker of big deals as well. There's this big challenge in it, and I'm up for it. So what do you want to?
This week was an example. I wrote 5 offers this week. I lost 4. I got 1 accepted. They're all with Home First. I got 3 approvals with Home First this week. I'm sitting on $1.9 million worth of pre-approvals with Home First. So I'm trying to do a stress test. How many pre-approvals can I get? How many deals can I do at one point? It's nothing to do with the team, but just my own competitiveness.
Ooh, I like this. I like where this is going, Dev.
But as far as manifesting relationships, from this deal, I really like the clients that I call business owners. I really like the relationships I'm able to build with my people, and the houses are just kind of whatever. There's not a whole lot of supply. They're not all pretty ones, but my clients are pretty. Their pre-approvals are pretty. So like manifesting those relationships, those clients to be long-term. I have a brother-in-law who's a financial advisor. So that's kind of part of what I talk about with people on generational wealth, on buying the asset now, paying down credit card debt. Someone was talking themselves out of buying a house this week when they said they would apply with Home First because they wanted to pay off this 17 grand in credit card debt. It wouldn't have helped them approve for more. And I said, why don't you use the asset, that growth, to pay off that credit card debt? And like, I gave them the whole picture of this is how you do generational wealth. And so just the relationships is what I'm manifesting.
Nice. I love it. Who's next?
I guess I'll go.
Okay.
I'm nervous. I don't know why. So this week my aunt reached out to me, and I've never spoken with her before because my mom found out about her through like an ancestry test years ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she found out she had like 7 siblings or 6 siblings. And
Surprise.
they all live in New York. Huh?
Surprise.
Yeah, right. She always thought she was like a single child. So she finally reached out to me because we never talked. And it just like, I've always wanted to reach out to my dad because I've only met him twice. And she kind of like encouraged me, I guess. I told her, I was like, you motivated me to finally like go through with it. So I reached out to my dad, and that's like, so it gives me a lot of anxiety, like reaching out to him because he's like a stranger to me, But anyways, long story short, he agreed to meet up with me. So I'm excited and nervous.
Well, okay. We got to unpack this a little bit. Okay. So you didn't know, so
I always knew who my dad was, but I've only met him twice, like as a kid. And then I've never met my aunt in person, but I have like 2 of them on Facebook or like Instagram or something like that. And then the rest of them I haven't met in New York. So hopefully that's something we're trying to work on too, is like meeting up as a family and things like that.
That's incredible, actually.
Yeah. And I was like, a part of me always had like not resentment or anything, but like my pride. I was like, I don't want to reach out to him. Like my sister has my dad on Facebook. And I'm just like, I'm not going to add him on Facebook because he doesn't talk to me, So anyways, I just like let all my pride go and reached out to him because I was like, life is too short to like hold grudges or anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, man. This is so your mom didn't know she had 6 siblings?
No, because they always knew about her, but I guess like my grandmother just always kept her father away for whatever reason,
Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
You might have just got 6 new clients.
Right. Possibly. She was saying how she wants to do Airbnb down here, so we'll see.
That's freaking awesome. So when's the meeting with your dad?
We haven't set it up yet. He just agreed, so we have to like work out all the logistics of it.
Where's he live?
He actually lives in Altamont. No, not Altamont, Apopka. So he's not that far.
Did you know he was that close?
Yeah, my whole life. That's another reason why I was like, he's never reached out,
That is very, very interesting. Well, you're gonna have to keep us posted on that.
I will.
I'm proud of you.
I'm like so nervous to meet him for no reason.
Yeah, well, no, we understand. I mean,
yeah,
you don't really know him like that, and it's a big deal. But just having the courage to do that, I think is powerful. I mean, a lot of people would avoid that, and no matter how it goes, I think that it's probably something that, even though you don't think affects you, and for you to facing it head on is a way to reach past that, and it might actually shift some things inside you in a good way. So at least that's the prayer and blessing. Good stuff.
2-minute mark till 2:22. Keep your eyes on the clock.
Oh shoot.
Okay. Yeah, you want to manifest something, Phoenix?
Oh my gosh, I wasn't prepared for this. I guess I'll just manifest to have more pendings a month, like at least 2 or 3 pendings a month.
Okay. So,
And this a healthier family relationship.
ooh, I like that. All right. I'll write these down.
1 minute.
I'd like to manifest another boy instead of girl. Is that possible?
So, Zach's wife is pregnant again. So wait, how many? So you've got 3 already?
And I'm now having a 4th girl.
And oh, so wait, they're all girls?
All 4, yes, all 4.
Oh, even this. Oh, so we already know that what the 4th one's gonna be.
Yeah, where you been? You're not on Facebook or IG, man? Get with the program.
Nah, bro. Nah, bro.
Could be wrong, Zach. Who knows?
Hey, you know
Maybe
what?
she'll actually have a boy.
And that's incredible. All right.
Apparently,
guys.
it's a sign that it's actually a good thing, and there's a whole biblical story around it. So apparently, my income's supposed to double this year because I'm having another girl. So hey.
Oh,
Hey, you said that right when it hit 222.
222. There you go. You just manifested that. Okay, 222 on 222. Who wants to manifest something right now?
Davos becomes a $100 million team this year.
Bam. Let it be so. $100 million team.
Come on, it's not 223 yet. Let's go. Come on.
I don't know. I've been writing down in my manifestation book. Like, I don't know why personally having $100 million. I think at $100 million mark, I used to have low standards for, like, I think I used to say, well, if I can make $30,000 a month in passive income and all this stuff. But the reality is, if we want to do some big stuff, we got to have some big money, man. I want $100 million, man. I want to hit that mark so that nobody can tell me nothing. We can just go out there and make impact and do whatever we want to do, get in the circles we want to get into. So that's what I'm manifesting on 222. Who else? Let's keep the minutes. Not 223. Lost it.
Here.
Go ahead, Wendell.
So my big blessing, and I'm pretty confident about this, is that the great meeting that we had, and that's very powerful because we need to remember as a team that we're not never alone, and that brings us energy. I just didn't like one thing. I didn't receive a shirt and I wasn't at the picture. But
you left and we forgot. We forgot right after. I think we remember, like, a little bit after, somebody was like, yo, what about the shirts? What about this? I was like, oh my gosh. But don't worry, I got your shirt.
Okay.
We will not. Well, so all right, guys, you got to remind it. Next time we do an event, we do the picture first.
Yeah.
Once everybody gets there, we do a picture, we get it over with. Okay.
Sounds like a great plan, and thank you for the great meeting. And it's very nice to see everybody going forward for their goals and their dreams and putting the pieces together. And I just realized too that my wife didn't make the arrangements for me to have some lunch here, and I needed to rush here because I have a showing in 45 minutes and I need to rush to go to that meeting. And it's great. It's great that we're putting the pieces together, and as a team, it's very nice to see how wonderful it is to have everybody accountable and everybody supporting everybody, and I'm very blessed to be here.
Awesome.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you for the energy. All right. Who else?
So Bobby, I gotta head out at 2:30. I want to stop in today and remind everybody of call night next week. And hoping that Davos shows up and takes the prize again.
Davos. Where we at?
So
which night is
it's
it?
March 1st, 5 to 8, same place, Ivanhoe Park Brewery. Eventbrite is in the chat. Eventbrite is in your Facebook chat. Eventbrite is in your email. It's at Eventbrite's on my IG, wherever you guys need it. But I would love to see a strong showing from you guys. So is anybody signed up yet?
Yeah, nobody's signed. Okay, so how many people is it a limit on per team, or
No, I mean, I have like 150 spots. I don't even know how many we sold yet, but last time we oversold and, you know, half people show, so I'm not worried. So,
we coming
who's
in.
going?
Yandel's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
I just need some pre-approvals, so I'll go.
6.
Go.
Okay, so everybody go right now. Everybody go in that link and register. Let me look at the link right now. It's on March 1st. Which is Tuesday, March 1st, 5 p.m. So. Oh, there it is.
So if you guys don't know what National Call Night is when we get together every quarter, the top teams, top individual agents from all over Central Florida come together, and for a couple hours, we have a contest, right? And that contest is based on, you know, how many call connections you make, how many appointments, how many live transfers to a lender, how many pre-approvals, you know, you guys get on the spot, and the prizes are pretty good. I mean, I think you guys had some kind of brewery tour last time, and there's other things. There's a trophy, bragging rights, all that kind of stuff. And then what I like about it most is if you have call reluctance for any reason, you're around 100 people making calls, and there's a lot of energy. You hear what people say on the phones to convert. And that just that adrenaline and that energy that's in the room, everybody is able to make more contacts and appointments than what they typically do. And what does that mean? That means that you're going to have more business coming as a result of showing up. So come out, it's free.
Show up. That's
Does it get too loud, like when you're speaking on the phone, like around other people?
I mean, sometimes, yes, there's an outdoor area. There's plenty of to walk away. And, you know, if you get a call connection.
Mm.
And there's free pizza and drinks.
Didn't stop us for getting a trophy last year, so
Yeah, very true.
what happened.
didn't stop us from getting a
Oh,
trophy.
getting the trophy. That's right. Davos team represented. You know, we showing them when we're, you know, we're gamers, man. When the game's on, Davos steps up, man. And you know, we got some we already know we got some competitors in the group. So as long as you get to compete against somebody else, Devin, it's all good. Good stuff. Anything else you want to talk about, Zach, or any other blood? Are you good? You got to get a call, right?
No. I have to head out to do something, but you guys also should have received an email from me today. I sent it to the entire Alliance group for the creative financing presentation. Remember, guys, we have a loan type for pretty much everything. Just ask the great questions I can, figure out their situation. But we now have access to every loan type out there, and the most amazing one is this DSCR, debt service coverage ratio. So remember, if you have an investor, no income, no employment, 20% down, as long as it rents out for what the mortgage payment is, you're good. If it doesn't, you could put 25% down, and that's not a requirement. And the rate is a 4.99 with, you know, with a decent credit score. I think I priced one out today, a cash out investment with a 700 credit score, and the rate was in the mid-5s. So if you have an investment property or an investor who wants to cash out to buy another property, you can cash out up to 75% pretty easily with no questions asked. Close the loan in 3 to 4 weeks tops.
I'll say on that, because I've been doing real estate 60 years now, loans always change based on the market. There are new loan types that lenders are doing that weren't around before the pandemic, before 2008. So stay up to date on these loans and communicate that to your buyers and let them know, like, it's not the same loans, not the same programs. They're all guidelines we can find any which way. So just know that you'll have to stay up to date on what types of loans are out there and communicate that value, because Home First, they have access to all the same loans that you can go VA, whatever you need. You know, communicate that value.
Awesome. And Annie, I just shared one of the videos with you. I think the other one is also approved, but I'm sharing it with you now.
Thank you.
All right, guys.
All right, man. I'll see you. And I'm gonna give a shout out to Kendra. I saw you wrote in the chat, Kendra. So Kendra has a showing tonight, and she's manifesting an accepted offer. So let her know what she's manifesting, put that great energy on that. So, in preparation for call night, I want to talk about some of the things that you guys are doing to keep people on the phone, on the line, right? So when when it gets kind of stuck a little bit, or they're trying to like say, hey, I'm not interested, or whatever the case may be, I'd love to hear some of the things that you guys are that's working to kind of keep that call going, or any questions that you have about, when somebody says X, what do I say back to that, right? So is there anything that's working? I see you nodding your head, Alexis. You got anything?
Yeah, just today too. I was speaking to someone and he was trying to get me off the phone. He was like, "Oh, I'm in the early stages of looking, and I have realtors sending me listings." And I was like, "Okay, so no, I'm like, I understand. So what exactly are you looking for? What is your end result?" And then he was like, I just want a home 250 to 300,000, and I want to end up renting it out. Oh, okay. So are you thinking long term or short term? He was like, wait, there's a difference? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. Depending on the community. And I was just telling him, and I was like really adding value. He was like, wait, I didn't know this. And I'm like, yeah. So I was like, are you thinking of relocating, or are you wanting to buy an investment property, use it as a vacation home certain times out the year and rent it out? He was like, yes, that's what I'm doing. And so the one who was trying to rush me off the phone, he's like, oh, well, since I have a couple of minutes here. And then he kept asking me questions. And I just kept providing value. And he had questions about property management and all this other stuff. And so since I've dealt with this, I know how to talk, but it kind of just sounded like, he didn't even know that there was a difference between short-term rental and long-term rentals, the different communities, that not all communities are going to allow that short-term rental. So it was just trying to dig deep. There are people who don't let you dig deep. They'll hang up the phone on you, and that's all good. But if you can dig deep, then ask the right questions.
Amazing. So we were, I think in Gil's Profits in Your Pocket, somebody says, how many questions should you ask? And somebody said one more. And Gil's like, oh shit, I'm writing that down. Like, you always got one more. Like whenever it looks like the door is shut, there's always like one more question. Like, what can you think of? And even if you're newer, you got to understand that this all happens over time, right? So the repetitions are what make you strong. Like, when Alexis started, she did not know about this, but as she began to work with these kind of properties, as she began to research, as she began to ask more questions and learn, now it just flows out, and, I talked about it today at the boot camp, is that, success is an exponential curve, and an exponential curve goes like this, and then it goes up real fast like that at the end. And what I said in boot camp was, it's most people don't have success because they can't make it out of the shitty part of the curve. And the shitty part of the curve is the first part, because the growth feels slow. It just doesn't, you're doing the work, but you're not necessarily getting this flood of results. But most people will quit before it actually starts to get fun and easy, right? And it does, it gets easier. That would have been something that Alexis would have said, I don't know, I got no answer to that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, go ahead.
Yeah. And what I wanted to add too is that, for my fellow teammates, don't get discouraged if you don't know something. And there are going to be people, and there's going to be realtors who are assholes too. And so, for example, when I know nothing about short-term rental, I kept getting like names and reach out to this person, reach out to that person. So I reached out to a person who supposedly knows STR really good and is a realtor, and he was an asshole. He told me that in order for us to have a conversation, he had his time is worth a lot of money, and he charges $500 an hour for providing me information. So yeah, I'm doing it without paying no damn $500 an hour.
So learn it yourself,
Yes.
learn it yourself.
And if you guys have questions about short-term rentals, I'm on my third deal with investments. So reach out to me whenever.
Yeah, and it's important that you guys really become a student of the game. I know Viviana's not on the call, but she's dealing with land out in Ocala, and she's looking at zoning and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, and she's just digging into it, and she's finding out stuff, and just getting stronger and stronger at that. And that's one of the things that when I was doing a lot of sales, I would say that was one of my strengths, was the fact that I'm not okay not knowing. Like, I'm just not okay with that. Like, I don't like to be in the dark. So I will research, I will look there, I will make the phone calls. Like, I don't assume that just asking another agent is going to give me the right answer. I'm going to call the source. Like, if this is a title question, I'm calling the title company. If this is a county question, I'm calling the county. Like, I'm getting the information one way or the other. Right. And that's something that you guys I want you to be relentless about that. Like, yo, like, I don't want to ever be in a situation like, if I find something I don't know, I'm going to Google it. I'm going to make some calls. I'm going to find out the information, and then bam, it's like you got one of the superpowers when you're playing a video game. It's like, bam, new weapon, and now that weapon right now is paying off for her because she was able to use that knowledge in order to keep somebody on the line when they were obviously trying to get her off the line. And she was able to ask one more question that was like, wait, there's a difference. Bam. Door opens. So what are some other things that might have been working for you guys, or some questions that you might have regarding certain situations where you might feel a blockage, and then you're like, man, I don't know how to keep this conversation going?
I have an example, and it's one of my strong suits too. I'm really good at making people laugh, or giving a scenario and then asking a question after that they have to answer. It's a question that's not analytical. It's how do you feel about that? Kind of questions. But the other day I was on the phone with a guy who was at his daughter's soccer game. So obviously he wanted to rush off the phone. It wasn't a good time. So I'm good with coming up scenarios and making people laugh. I said, oh, no problem, man. I can already hear the ref in the background giving out the yellow cards. It's his little girl's, soccer game. So he laughed at that. I said, hey, I might be calling you too early. Most of my clients, are looking for something in a quick time frame. What time later today or next week, or if they're not ready, when should I give you a call next month? He'll give me a time frame, and I'll ask another question on that. Hey, so I can bring you some value. What should I call you about when it comes to real estate? And they usually give me one more answer, and then I'll drag that on longer and longer. And if they really want to get off the phone, at least I have a time frame, a scenario, what they want to be followed up about, and I'll cut that time frame in half. So I kind of have a light appointment for someone to rush me off, but I got 2 or 3 more questions out of it with some more information. They gave more answers. So even when they're trying to rush me off, I'll say something funny or give a scenario and ask the question based on that scenario. You probably want to get off the phone, back to what you're doing. I probably interrupted you. What do you want me to call you back about? And when should I reach out?
I like that question a lot, actually. Hey, when I call you back, what should I have prepared for you? What do you want me to call you back about, so that I'm prepared, right? I would tend to believe that would give more of a commitment for them to show up to the call, or make sure they make the call, right? Because now it's like, oh, well, they're getting me the thing that I'm asking them for, and they're putting some work into it. So I like that question. I like that. Hey, for our next call, what can I have prepared for you to add the most value? What answers do you want, that I could provide to you on the next call, so I can do some research in the meantime. And so when we call, and we can be right to the point, and I can get you all the information that you want. I really, really like that question.
That's straight from Grant Cardone sales, what he teaches salespeople. When someone says, hey, just send me an email, or yes, I get your emails, perfect. What should I put in that email that'll get you to actually open it? Hey, what should I call you about that'll be actually worth answering the phone? What should I call you about? What do you want to know more about? Because I understand you're busy right now. You're accepting, acknowledging, giving them what they want, which is you're going to reach out later at a different time. But give me that 30 more seconds of what should I reach out to you about, at what time, and things like that.
Good stuff. What else? Anybody got anything that's worked for them, or any kind of walls that they've run into that we can maybe bust down those walls to keep asking some questions?
I can say that when I first started, I was listening to answer the questions or the scenarios that clients had. And recently I've switched gears, and I'm listening to comprehend and truly understand what they're asking me to do. So like the conversation that I had with a client earlier today is, I'm asking one question and I'm letting her talk until literally she's like, hello. And you end up finding out that like they literally go, I'd walk away from my computer and have to run back because I'm like constantly adding notes. We don't really have to ask too many questions sometimes to find out what they really want. I feel like when we're asking a shit ton of questions, that's the questions like we need answered. But if we're asking the right questions and just letting them talk without interrupting, you end up finding out a lot about them, and they feel like you truly care, you truly want to know, you truly want to help them. And towards the end of the call, she was like, you know, I don't want to work with anybody else. Like, I don't like that shit. Like, I just want to work with you. So you're going to be my go-to. And I feel like I couldn't have got her to say that unless she knew that I comprehended what she was telling me. So I feel like this year that's something that I'm going to work on. Because again, even in my personal life, like when I'm asking questions or when I'm talking to someone, I'm listening to respond, not listening to understand. And I feel like people can tell the difference.
I really like that. To understand, write that down. So yeah, it's funny because today at the boot camp, one of the things that I talked about was being a professional listener, and I would say trust that the questions will come if you listen really well, right? So if you're listening to understand, the questions will come, because anything you don't understand, you will ask a question about, right? So like, trust yourself to be like, hey, I don't have to worry about the next question. The next question's coming to me. If I understand this person, if there's something I don't understand, they say something I need elaboration on, I'm going to be listening so intently that I'll be like, I'll ask that question, or I'll write it down while they're talking, right? And let them, like, I really like that, Annie, where you're not listening to respond, you're listening to understand. And sometimes you just let them roll. Like, just let them roll. Like, if you have some questions that they mentioned something, you got to answer, you just write it down. You're just like, okay, cool. And then, what's cool is when you go and when they get done. So this is all about, I'll mention this book again today, Devin, I know you were there. Never Split the Difference, right? There's a method to this. And what it is exactly what Annie said, which is people don't want you to lecture them or try to convince them or try to sell them. People want to be understood. Right? People want you to listen and understand where they're coming from, even if what they're coming from is dumb or doesn't make sense or is the wrong strategy. That's not what it's about. It's about the fact that you care enough to listen to what they have to say. So when you're asking these questions and you're letting them talk, you're writing them down. Part of where it says in the book that kind of shores this all up. So you start with the questions, you hear them out. You ask some more questions, you hear them out. Hey, tell me more about that. Another tactic is simply just repeating the last 2 or 3 words of what they said. Like, if you don't even know what a question to ask, just repeat the last few things. He goes, so a big kitchen. If you repeat, if that's where they ended the sentence and you repeat it again, they'll keep elaborating. Oh yeah, big kitchen with this and that, oh, with this and that. Yeah, and they'll just keep talking and talking and keep them talking. And at the end of the day, when they get done basically getting all that out, then what Annie would do is kind of recap everything she's heard, everything she listened and understood. Hey, from what I understand, what you really want is this, this, and this. And by the way, let me ask you, I wrote down a few things. You mentioned in there this. And by you doing that, they're like, holy crap, this person actually listened to everything that I said and actually wrote down notes about the things that I was talking about. And it just shows how much you care. And that's why they ended that call saying, you're the person. Like, I'm not working with nobody else. And she barely spoke.
I really did. And I was on the phone for 45 minutes and she did all the talking.
There you go. There you go.
And that is another thing they really like when, like, I'll tell them, like, if they say hello, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, I'm taking notes just to make sure, like, I remember things, because I have a bad memory. Like, we'll laugh about it, like, I'll joke about it. It's like COVID brain or something. And they love that. Like, 1, I'm joking with them, but 2, they understand the situation, and 3, they like that I'm not going to forget, I'm going to remember them, but I also have notes. Even if I'm not taking notes, I always just say that I'm taking notes.
That's awesome. And it's not bad to have a couple one-liners that you repeat, right? Like that you kind of get comfortable with. Devin talked about a joke on the fly, but sometimes there's just certain sayings that, that you'll just repeat that always gets a laugh, or or always helps you connect with somebody, you know, like maybe hers was like, oh, I'm sorry, I write things down, I got COVID brain, like, and they'll laugh every time, and it just kind of breaks the ice. So, you know, find that thing for you, you know, that you can always kind of like drop in there every once in a while and always gets a reaction or a laugh or a connection. Anybody else got something either that's working or maybe something that you're running into, or even, you know, let's open it up now with about 14 minutes left for any deal situations that we can kind of discuss as a group as well.
I would say I'm looking into deals that sat on the market for a long period of time. And they usually are ugly or people feel they're overpriced. But honestly, I don't go by the listing price. We're always going to do comps, and they've sat for this long. So listing price doesn't matter at this point. It's a matter of what's going to win. And that's kind of what I'm directing some of my clients who are struggling to win stuff, is things that sat on the market for a while. Davenport and Kissimmee are usually where you see things sit a little bit longer. So anyone even looking in those areas, you really have an opportunity to not even worry about list price, find something that's been there for 34 days and win that one.
So you're saying for when you're working with some buyers, having a tough time finding something to kind of go on the clearance rack, look at some stuff that's been on the market for a while, and then kind of present that to your buyer in a way that, you know, to convince them either through price or how you can fix up the property after the fact and that kind of thing.
Right. And also know that know your market. Not every market is going to have homes that sit that long, and there's such low inventory right now. But Kissimmee and Davenport, you find a buyer that wants to be in that area and isn't in approved for that much, know that that's the opportunity versus someone that wants Seminole County or somewhere else in Orange County. There's not a whole lot of inventory, and there's not a whole lot that sit that long anyway. So know that that's take advantage of Kissimmee buyers or Davenport buyers for those homes that sit for a while. Know that something at 314 can come to 299 real quick.
Yep.
You can.
I'm dealing with a similar situation. But my client, we've been getting our offers denied. So I'm like, we just have to focus on, you know, properties that have been sitting a little longer. So that's the conclusion we came to. I do have another question. It's like a really simple question. I'm looking at land property for one of my friends who's interested in it. And I know they have different zonings, and the one says in Kissimmee, so it says KRA3. Is that just like stands for Kissimmee?
You know, usually RA.
Like, cause it's RA3, I think.
Yeah, usually if it's an R, it's residential. But honestly, all those codes kind of mean a little bit something different. Like, you know, usually, you know, R1, R2, anything with an R in it means residential. But at the same time, it could have, there's so many codes, so you have to call the city or the county. So if the property's in the city, in the city limits, then you call the city and you look for the zoning department. You say, hey, I'm looking at this address here, blah, blah, blah. It's zoned this. What does this mean? Usually each county or city has like a zoning table, and they'll actually be able to give you a table or a link to a table that basically says, here's what KRA1 means. It means that you can build, you know, one single family dwelling, blah, 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 or whatever the case may be. But you can't just rely on the codes and guess.
Okay.
You know, when it comes to land, you know, the simple ones are the ones that are already in residential areas. You know, if it's like a simple lot and there's a bunch of residential lots around and it's part of a neighborhood or whatever the case may be, those are a lot simpler. It's just those pieces of land that are maybe zoned, you know, commercial, agriculture, something else, and you're trying to figure out what can actually be done here. But regardless, you're going to want to make sure that you call the planning and zoning department and find out everything you can about that piece of land and what's allowed.
Okay, yeah, because I did look on the site and I was able to find all the different like codes for zoning and things like that. But I'll still give them a call because they want to build like a container home or something like that. It's to build a church, but like a container property.
Interesting.
So I didn't see anything regarding container properties on the zoning. So I think I'm just gonna have to give them a call. Like I saw all the residentials, agriculture, so I don't know what that falls into.
Yeah, I actually, funny enough, I looked into this some years back. So one of the many companies that Gil and I never actually, took off the ground was a container home company that we wanted to start. We just felt like that's just something that, was starting a trend, and we didn't see many of them in Orlando. And this might differ by city or county, but what I found out was this: they don't actually give a shit whether it's a container home or not. It just has to be built. It has to be built towards Florida building code. As long as the property is up to code, they don't actually care if it's out of a container or not. Right. So as long as the structure meets Florida building code, they don't particularly have an issue with a container or not a container. Right. It's more about the fact that it's built like it's supposed to be built. So, it could be wrong for that area, but most likely it's just like anything else. You're going to have to submit plans just like you would for a home, and your materials just steel, a container from a container home. As long as it's built up to code, I don't think that there's any, there's going to be many restrictions to that, unless you're ever in an area that's like, let's say, a historical district or something where they have another kind of overlay of regulations. Like, for instance, in downtown Orlando, Thornton Park and those places, a lot of these places are historic districts. So you can't just build any style home in some of those areas. It has to look the way they want it to look, that old school style or whatever. Or whenever you renovate one of these older properties, they have a certain set of rules. You got to go in front of the historic board and all this bullshit. But for the most part, just call the city or county, call planning and zoning, find out what can be done there. Ask them. Like I said, it's just about research, right? Like, hey, if who could I talk to? So I have somebody looking to build potentially a container home. Do you know anything about whether there's any restrictions on container homes or anything, or a container structure on this? And it sounds, you said it's for a church, so you're talking about commercial.
Yeah.
Okay, so so first we have to figure out if it's even zoned for commercial. And if it is, any restrictions on that? She might be like, I don't know anything about that. Well, who could I talk to about that? Oh, you need to call this department. Great. Can you transfer me? What's their number? Bam. And you just keep going down the rabbit hole.
And I'll also say, with calling the city, they answer all your questions really well. They're really nice. They're there to serve you. So don't be afraid to save that number there and reach out to them on anything. They can answer it. They have the resources. Don't rely just on the chart, because everything's a variable.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And then another pro tip on land is, let's say it's not zoned for what you need for now. One thing to always ask is, the city is, what's the future land use? So cities usually plan, 15 years in advance as to how areas will develop. So if something's zoned agricultural, but the future land use is residential, you're going to have a lot easier time getting that rezoned, because the city's already planning to make that residential, right? Like if you wanted to make that residential and that's what the city was planning in the future, that's a really, really good thing to know. So let's say you call up and they say, oh, right now it's not currently zoned for doing commercial there. It's zoned this. Okay, well, what are the likely chances I could get that changed to do commercial there? What's the future land use of the property? And let's get that kind of information from them as well. Because that's going to help you sell it as well.
All right, thank you.
Any other deal situation? I know. I'll bring up Yandel's situation, because I spoke to him about this. What she was asking me, there was a situation where a seller or the listing agent was saying, hey, we're not going to be responding to offers until 3 days from now. And but Yandel's client was in town right now, and he wanted to make an offer, like a above price offer on the property. And Yandel was asking me, like, what can I do to see if these guys would accept my offer? And he was gonna, because his client was willing to offer like 20 grand above. What I told him is, don't tell them the number first or anything like that. Ask the listing agent, say, hey, I can certainly understand that the seller might want to wait, but out of curiosity, could you ask the seller, what it would take to get it off the market now? Like what kind of offer, like if I were to put together like an amazing offer, what would it be? What would it take to actually get this property off of the market and get it under contract? So that's kind of the first step, and let them answer, because his guy was willing to offer 20 grand more, but what if he asked them and they only asked for 10 grand over? Right? So let them say the number first. Let them tell you what's important to them, right? Hey, what's the most important thing to the seller? What can we do to make this offer so sweet that they can't say no to? Tell me, and let them talk. All right. And if for some reason they're like, oh, they don't respond, or they say, the seller, talk to the seller, there's nothing you can do, like they're going to wait. Then in that case, I told them, go ahead and get the offer in and put your best foot forward. I can tell you that, and some of you guys might feel the same way as a listing agent. I give a little bit of props to whoever comes in first, and give them some props. Because if somebody came in and made an offer, a strong offer, and they made it first, I tend to believe that person really wants that property. So I like to be first. I like to be the person that said, hey, I was the one who first said yes to this. So to me, that matters. So I wouldn't wait forever for an answer. Or if they say no, then just go ahead and put the offer in and say, bam, I want to be in front of your face. I want you thinking about my offer first, and the fact that I was one of the first ones to say yes to your property, that we really wanted it. So just something that might help you guys out, in your own deals as well.
It might have helped me on my FHA deal. We were the first ones at the open house. The first day it was listed, the seller showed us around, and then the listing agent came back from putting out balloons and signs. And so we built rapport. We were the first ones. So when I wrote the offer, I could easily say we were the first ones. We built rapport, talked to the seller. So that might have helped.
Yeah, you got it accepted?
FHA, yeah.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. All right, we got about 3 more minutes of our manifestation call.
Can I add one more thing?
Yes, of course.
CC your fucking lenders. Always have them call, do whatever you need to. Literally, it was my offer. It was 31 offers total. It came down to my offer and another, and I missed out on it because I was rushing to submit the offer, because like the agent was nice enough to give me like an extension. So I was like rushing, and I completely forgot to CC Jocelyn, because she always responds. And the listing agent came back and said, to be honest, the only reason why your offer wasn't accepted was because the other agent had their lender call me. So I literally was pissed off, and I was like, how the fuck am I going to tell my buyer like I lost this because of a technicality, basically? So always have your lender.
You do not have to tell them that. You just say you lost, there's competition. we don't have to get detailed on that.
Cash and one, cash deal.
Yeah, whatever. You don't have to lie, but we can admit some things. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you guys didn't understand that, really great pro tip: when you submit your offer along with your pre-approval letter, go ahead and CC your lender, hopefully at Home First Lending, so that they know it's like, hey, I stand behind this. I stand behind this so much, I put my lender on it, and then have the lender come in there and say, hey, yeah, we're excited to work with you guys, that kind of thing. It just makes the listing agent feel good, because we all know that financing blows up. If somebody's going to blow up a deal, it's going to be the financing, right? So feeling that confidence that the financing is solid is going to help you win offers as well. We got time for one more if anybody's got any deal situations.
I'll say sorry for going off on you, Annie, because I won this offer, but I didn't CC the lender. The agent actually called me and I gave her the lender's name. So sorry for going hard on you on that one. But yeah, that should be the new standard. No one else is doing it. Just throw it into your normal practice, have the lender call. And because sometimes you got to describe that this offer has already been confirmed with the lender. I use those words. It's already been verified by my lender. No issues, especially if you're waiving appraisal, if you're giving them extra cash. It's already confirmed with my lender. Like, we don't just guess at this.
Awesome.
I have a pro tip, I guess.
Yeah.
So this weekend I went out with a buyer, and I already knew what she wanted to spend as far as mortgage is concerned, right? And the areas that she wanted to stay in, she wanted new construction, and she really wanted a single family house. And I was just like, I understand this, but we should definitely look at townhouses too. And she was like, well, we'll leave townhouses for the like a last resort. Okay. So we went into community and it just smacked her in the face because we did like mortgage quotes, and that shit was like way over what that she could spend. So I just told in my head, I told you, bitch. Nah, nah. But then I had like townhouses scheduled anyway, so she kind of came to the realization that, okay, if I want new construction, I need to be in this area, I'm gonna have to go with the townhouse. So hopefully we continue forward and I'll have another one on the contract. But it was just you can say but so much, right? And until they actually are there, someone else is maybe telling them like, hey, these are the numbers for this community, this house, this price range. And as I'm grateful that I had a backup. So
Dope.
they're like, they're humans. Sometimes you learn the hard way, right? Or you have to,
Yeah. You want to go touch the stove? Touch the stove.
Yeah.
Oh, it burned, huh? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna touch the stove anymore, right? No, that's right. Contrast is huge. Contrast is huge. Sometimes people got to see it, right? People got to feel it. So sometimes you don't want to fight that so much because they're going to think that you're not trying to represent them. So you say, this is what you want to do? No problem. The same way I tell you guys sometimes when these guys want to make these offers that aren't going to win, they're just insisting to do it. All right, well, let them lose one. Okay, go ahead. Let's get them to sign something, and then we're going to send it in, and I'm going to tell you you're a loser. Okay, you lost it. You want to know? Not, I'm gonna say that. No, but I'm gonna say you lost I'll say, hey, we didn't win this one. I talked to the agent. There was somebody who actually came in full price. But I think we kind of knew that, didn't we? We kind of gave this one a shot through the Hail Mary. But what I know is, Hail Marys rarely work, right? So, let's put together a strategy next time that's gonna help you win. So good stuff. Good stuff.
Bobby, quick question, because
Yeah.
I do have a buyer that I'm working with and they want to put an offer in this home. They have not even seen it yet, but because it is in the community that they want to be in, that we're trying to schedule that showing, which the MLS, it says only Thursdays. And I called the listing agents, I messaged them, no answer. So my buyer is like, can we just go ahead and submit an offer even without they just want the house. They know they want the house. So I'm like, sure, if that's what you want to do, but I can start working on it. But there's no answer from the listing agent at all.
Well, some agents suck. The only,
I know.
the next step would be to potentially call their office, right? And they can say, hey, I just want to give you a call. I've been trying to reach so and so. I haven't been able to get an answer. Wanted to know if there's somebody else who's taking those calls for them or a way that we could reach them. And that's just another step that you can take. That said, they want to write an offer, you write that off. Like, let's not delay. Like, I ain't waiting on that shit. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, that's what your buyer wants. The last thing you want to do is lose that deal because you didn't write the offer.
Mm-hmm.
So, and once again, look, guys, at this point, I know some of you guys are newer, but like, you can write a contract, in 10 minutes, right? So what is it? Hey, you want to submit an offer? Great. Let's get it in. All it does is put your buyer into motion. It gets them signing things. It gets them moving forward. So what? So the listing agent answers you and says, oh, no, we already got an offer. That's why I didn't respond. We already did. No problem. But you're moving forward in motion, and time kills all deals. So anytime a client says, hey, I want to do this, like, I recall Kevin, at one time, I gave him a lead and the lady wanted to put in an offer. And then I was like, hey man, I was like, how'd it go? He's like, oh, she wanted to put an offer, but I like convinced her that she needed to go do this and do that before we put in the offer. And then he lost the client. And I'm like, bro, like the lady,
I remember.
You remember that? I was just like,
yes, you talked about it in a meeting.
I was like,
The
Kevin,
low ball offer,
doing?
he didn't think we were gonna win, so he kind of told her.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, bro, you don't stop the flow, man. They want to move forward. Let's move forward.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Okay.
All
Yeah, and I
right.
like the fact that I can always see the lender, because this will be, they're trying to put over asking price, waive the appraisal. They just want the house.
Don't stop the flow. That sounds like a deal.
I know.
As long as the house looks in good shape, I can't imagine that they'd back out unless,
It's pretty new,
like there's
right.
just something we don't know. right?
Yeah.
Which we'll find out during inspection or whatever the
Inspection.
case may be.
Mhm.
So good
Okay.
stuff, guys. Well, appreciate you guys. Go crush the rest of this week. So we've got a few days left in the month. So let's see if we can put those pendings on the board. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? What's our next? Oh, call night. So make sure you guys sign up for call night, March the 1st. Davos team about to represent. All right. And Andrew.
Bye guys. I feel so blessed to be able to be with y'all on 2/2/22/22/22 on this Tuesday.
2/22.
I was just telling Ando, I'm like, I never hear you guys call, so I think it is really weird that I was blessed enough to be around during this like manifestation kind of day. So you guys know I'm big. If you don't know, I'm big on that. So
Yes.
thank you.
Yes, she talks to the
Great
universe. If you ever need to talk to the universe, just talk to her.
If you ever need to talk to the universe.
Yeah, she just talks directly to it. That's just the way it rolls. All right, guys, go manifest. Peace.
See ya.